Hey everybody, I hope this message finds you well. I was about to do some routine maintenance on our 3D printer and it occurred to me this would make a pretty good lesson. This is something I've been wanting to cover for some time now. You've probably heard us use this word some. You may use this word yourself. And I thought it'd be a good time to go over it and explain exactly what we mean. Sometimes we toss this word around and we're not crystal clear about what we're saying. The word I'm talking about is calibration. Calibration. To calibrate something. So we say that word sometimes. We're going to calibrate an instrument. But exactly what do we mean by that? And to calibrate something, all it is just we're going to make some small adjustments to get some instrument or some device to work properly, to work as well as it can. Thermometers need calibration, scales need calibration. In Miss Warren's classroom, she has a balance scale that it has to be calibrated to work properly. You may have an oven thermometer or some kind of thermometer in your kitchen that if it's not calibrated correctly, guess what? It won't give you the right temperature. Your parents may have a bathroom scale at their house, and it probably needs some special adjustment periodically to get it to perform properly. A lot of things need calibration like that. And if you go in any engineering lab or manufacturing facility or whatever, when they're using advanced instruments, electronic instruments or electrical engineering devices or really almost any kind of device where precision matters, there's probably some calibration routine. There's probably some knobs you turn and switches you flip and buttons you push, and you do it in a certain correct order, and you examine the results, and that's the process of adjusting it to work properly. And it might be a machine that does something, like for example our 3D printer, or it might be some kind of a reading type machine like a scale or a thermometer or a measurement like a ruler doesn't need calibrating, it doesn't change, but some kind of a distance measuring device. There are those that do need calibrating. A laser measure, for example, might. Anyway, so calibrate. It's kind of a fancy word. We use it sometimes. We may not always be using it precisely how engineers and scientists use it. Sometimes I might tell you you need to calibrate your attitude or something like that. Sometimes my attitude might need a calibration. But anyway, now you know more about what that means, and I'm about to take you through a calibration routine on our 3D printer. All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody. I've been doing a lot of printing lately on our 3D printer, and I've noticed that the print quality has declined some. We've been having some problems with things sticking to the bed properly. Some of the prints come out kind of stringy looking. Some of it just comes out a complete mess. Some of it even is very brittle and falling apart. And so for that reason I decided it was time for some routine maintenance, including calibration. So I'm going to show you that now. All right, hey everybody, we're about to calibrate our 3D printer here. So I'm just going to turn it on and make a couple of menu choices here. So it's powering up, and I'm going to turn it to prepare and auto home. And so that causes it to kind of say, hey, let me go find where's the end of this thing. And so that's what it's doing right now. All right, so it came to rest right there. And now I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna choose disable steppers. And what that does, that really just makes it easy for me to slide the bed around and so I can move it without it trying to fight me. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna very carefully try to position this thing such that it barely touches. In fact, we want it to not even quite touch the bed. And the way I do that is by, I'm going to turn this knob here and to create a little tiny bit of space. And I want it to be just enough that I can slide a folded piece of paper in. I can kind of see in there. Let's see. Looks like that ought to be good. Let's see. Still a hair more. All right, so when it barely touches like it is now, that's where we want it to be. Okay, now we go and do the other. We go and do another. I'm going to move it over to another corner here, like so. And we'll see we're already starting to touch some. And so this corner's got to come on down. Let's continue to move this over. And we're going to move our plate back like so. And we're checking. Yeah, okay, that's nice. It's barely touching. I'm going to let it up a hair. That's too much. So this is a very precise operation. Millimeters matter. Okay, let's go check another corner. Oh, this one is too high also. Looks like the whole bed has gotten too high in here. Okay, let's get all the way back to that corner. Alright, see how that's going to do. Yeah, it's okay. I want to let it down just a hair. A little bit more. So as I'm turning these wheels, you see me reach for the wheels and turn them. What that's doing is letting the bed up and down just very little. I wouldn't say microscopically, but almost imperceptibly. And that's the way we get it to precisely the height that we want. So that looks good. Now let's go over and check our fourth corner. This one's too high as well. I gotta begin to lower it down. Huh? Okay, let's see. Now that's still a little too high. We're gonna crank it down a little bit. Like so, alright. Nice. Now, so I've touched all four corners. I need to go back around and see if we're still in good shape everywhere. Yeah, nice. How are we doing over here on this corner? Nice. Okay, how about this back corner?
Barely touching, exactly what we're after. And the final corner here. Barely touches. All right, so we have calibrated our 3D printer here, and that's one example of calibration. Thanks, everybody.